SprintCarUnlimited.com, coming to you from the Front Row Challenge at Southern Iowa Speedway. We're here with Ryan Timms. You were leading a lot of laps, and then, I don't know, it just seemed like, I don't know, did you know Kyle was behind you and how quick he was coming, and did that kind of make you switch things up that maybe you shouldn't have?
I knew Kyle was behind me. I felt like I really did just fine up until there when a few laps before he slid me, and then I started getting tight on the cushion, hitting the cushion, getting tight on it, kind of in both corners, but mainly in 3. And then, allowed him to get a run on me, and then he slid me. And
what happened there?
I'm very open-minded when it comes to these things, and I'm not one to just throw a guy under the bus. I've done the same stuff, so it's part of it, really. But at the end of the day, it was a bad slide job, and it didn't have a single chance of clearing. We both went in there. The minute I saw him coming up, I got off the gas completely and jammed on the brakes as hard as I could, and he still took my front end out. So, like I said, there was just no chance of it clearing, and it's a racing deal, unfortunately. It's just part of racing. But, it's the way it goes, so, yeah.
Do you race him differently next time, maybe?
Yeah, for sure. I'm not going to just blatantly junk them, but...
Well, no, I understand.
Yeah, for sure. You race guys how they race you, so...
I think you ended up 4th. Was it like that?
3rd, I think.
Third, 4th. Yeah, 3rd. The front wing, how much of a problem was that over the closing stages of the race? What did that field did that give you? And obviously Corey was able to get you that.
Yep. Yeah, we so the thing, we actually ran out of fuel the last 3 laps, 2 or 3 laps there. Coming across the line, didn't have any power, just rolled across the line. So at the end of the day, I would have lost anyway, but it's just the principle of it. And when he took the nose wing out, I haven't looked at it. I don't think it tore anything up on the front end, actually, but it felt completely just no steering at all, like just no weight on the front end. I think something had to be bent because it didn't feel like just like I didn't have a nose wing. It felt like something was in the steering was steering kind of funky. But I really don't know. But it just it took all the weight off my front end. If I would have went up against the cushion, there's no way I was going to be able to turn off of it.
After the motor issues last night, you still had speed tonight. How important was it to come in here? Everything else aside, and just, have speed, have a good run, and basically get back on track heading into the Nationals?
Yeah, it's very important. It's a confidence booster. This is easily the best I've ran here at Oski, and Larson and Corey, they're really fast here, so to be just as fast as them, it's great. I really felt like we definitely had a shot to win there. And it's good going into Wednesday. It's good to just have a good run, come off a good run, and it's good practice. Knoxville and Oski are pretty different tracks. They race a lot different, but the momentum style racetracks are the same, and then keeping the car straight and just kind of the same principles that translates to Knoxville, so it's good laps.
So what do you do over the next couple of days? You're the defending champion. People are still talking about you being the favorite and whatnot, or one of those favorites. What do you do over the next couple of days to just kind of dial in for Wednesday?
Well, tomorrow I'm doing an interview with Connor Wade at like 9 in the morning. I'm not very good at waking up in the morning, so that would be interesting. And then doing a deal at the All Ball Suite Tower at 10:30, and then going and hanging out with All Ball and their crew at his golf course tomorrow. So tomorrow's kind of just a relaxing day and enjoying the day off. And then once, I go home or go to the camper and lay down for the night, I'll watch some video, just do whatever I feel like I need to do to prepare.
Clear your head.
Yeah, clear my head, yeah.
Well, congratulations on having speed tonight and a good run.
Thank you.
SprintCarUnlimited.com, coming from the Front Row Challenge. We're here with winner Kyle Larson. Something we've said plenty in the last 5 years. It's your 5th win, and I think the last 6 years of this thing. It was kind of difficult. What happened in the heat race? You were leading, got to the front, and it just snapped around on you.
The axle broke. So yeah, that was unfortunate, but my car felt really good all night. Qualifying went well. The heat race went really good to get to the lead, and then yeah, it broke. So was surprised to start as far forward as we did in the feature, but my car felt extremely good there and drove right to the front really quickly.
Yeah, the car just seemed you got to the front pretty quick, got in the top 5, which was key. Got a couple cautions and whatnot, and then you were able to just track down Tim's. He went to the bottom. He was you had the same gap, it seemed like, and then he went to the bottom, and then you were able to reel him in. Were you surprised by that?
I was. He made a couple mistakes in a row, catching the cushion in the middle 1 and 2, and I could tell he was scared of me probably being close to him, and he started shortcutting his entry to 3, and it was just kind of killing his run. So I was really smelling blood there, and he was backing his momentum up and just gonna open the door eventually, and he cracked it open, and I guess I opened it wide up. So
yeah, you got a tremendous run down the backstretch.
Yeah.
Take me through that corner. Obviously, there was a little contact at the front end to your rear end, I think.
Yeah, I guess. I felt the contact. I haven't seen the replay, so I don't know if I got him in the right rear to left front or rear bumper to front wing or whatever. But, I just got a big run off of 2, and we kind of had a lapper up ahead, and I felt like I needed to just take advantage of the run that I had. And just because the field seemed smaller at that point with the reds and people just pulling in, so I felt like we weren't going to catch much traffic, so I just didn't know what was going to be ahead in the laps upcoming. So like I said, I saw the opening and kind of shot the gap, and was probably not clear, but we had to get the win there.
This track has been really good to you. What is it about this place? Obviously, it doesn't matter where you start, whether you're up front or coming from 11th. You just seem to get around this place so well.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot. It's big. It's flat and all that, but it's a lot different than Knoxville. We do good at Knoxville, but I just don't feel as balanced there as I do here. I have felt really balanced in the past, but here lately, this Knoxville has just been more technical. We're here, I don't know, it's just maybe the little bit longer corners and the material, the dirt, just suits our car and my style. But and then just kind of making angles and stuff and making the straightaways really long seems to be an advantage of mine. So being able to pull big slide jobs, obviously tonight was probably a little tight, but yeah, I don't know, I've figured out how to make those big moves and create those angles. So it's fun. I enjoy coming here. The McCarls do such a good job with the event. They make it fun for the drivers, teams, mechanics, and the fans especially.
You win the Capitani Classic last night, but I thought Rico was almost as good. Tonight I thought you were clearly the best car. Did you kind of need a run like this where you were even maybe better than you were last night? Just from whether it's a confidence standpoint. I mean, you've won so many races, confidence seems kind of trite at this point. But just going into the week, did you need a dominant run like this?
Well, it always helps the confidence, but it's hard to read too much into a run like tonight's just because the field is much different. You have good cars here, but you don't have a lot of good cars like you're going to have at Knoxville or like we had last night. So, like Rico and Gravel were both on the podium. Reitzel was right there. Second through fourth weren't here tonight. So, yeah, the level of, or the strength of the field is down. So it can make runs like tonight look a little bit inflated, but regardless, we've beat a lot of good cars here over the years, and I think, we just have a good package here. So, I think it'll give some confidence going into the prelim night, and hopefully we can just put a whole night together again.
Last thing, I know there's a lot. I've really been kind of quiet on this whole running the prelim night, not knowing if you got back. To me, not a huge issue. I've seen it before. You've heard both sides of it. Kind of how do you look at this thing and how do you approach it? I mean, it's unfortunate that you can't run Saturday, maybe, depending on the weather. What's your take on this? What made you decide to run this week?
Well, I mean, for us, I think it starts with just we want to race. We don't get many opportunities to race, Paul and I. My schedule doesn't allow it. So when there's a middle of the week race at a racetrack we all love, whether it's a Knoxville Nationals prelim or a high limit race or whatever it might be, we're going to try and hit it. Obviously, if we do well enough and we lock in, that just opens up the opportunity if some sort of delay happens with weather or anything, So, and then I can get both sides of the argument on it. I think with somebody of like us who's doing it, it's going to raise more eyes to it. But if your team earns a position into the main event, I feel like you've earned that. You earn the start money and all that comes along with it. So, but again, I could see on the flip side of it, if I was a competitor, you could feel like somebody was taking a spot. But it's not guaranteed that I'm gonna lock in. The prelim nights are so tough. I've not locked in a handful of times throughout my career. So, but yeah, we'll just show up on our prelim night and see how it goes.
Well, if it would get moved to Friday, you could do Friday?
I couldn't. I wouldn't either. Okay. I think at that point I wouldn't waste the jet fuel.
Well, that's what I mean. If the rain comes, I know Thursday doesn't really look good.
Yeah.
The weather looks kind of crappy all week. But...
Yeah, I'm hoping it gets crappier, honestly. Well, maybe after if we get a prelim night in, but no, because I mean, if it gets moved to Sunday, I'll be here.
Yep. All right. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Welcome to another edition of the SprintCarUnlimited.com live show. I see the chat's already active. Sorry for the late start. We had some technical issues we had to work out here. So we're going to jump right in, get to the chat, take your calls, and kind of get through everything. Let's go. According to Kyle Larson, Liebig made a derogatory statements toward him in Victory Lane. Yeah, I didn't hear that in the interview. And there's more to it. How can we be considered a professional sport when a prominent owner can make a racist statement in Victory Lane and virtually nothing has been reported about it? I guess this is the norm now. I didn't even know he did it. And the reason is because I can't hear him on the front stretch and I'm in the back pit. So I didn't even know that. And Larson never mentioned it. Obviously, you heard the video on our way into the broadcast, and he never made reference to it. As far as the comment and everything associated, look, I hear that stuff in the pit area every week, almost. I'm not condoning it, obviously, but again, it's just something. I guess it's part of the dirt track community. It's not part of my deal or what I do, but I guess that's the norm if that's what you want to say, because I hear stuff like that in the pit area all the time. So is it right? No, but I don't think it's something that's going to leave the sport anytime soon. And by the way, I hear it in other professional sports too. as somebody who's covered those. It's just maybe used in a different tone or a different acceptance. So it's unfortunate, but that's where we're at right now. What are the odds Larson and Timms will be exchanging Christmas cards next year? Probably. Look, this will pass. This too will pass. It always does. It was a heat of the moment thing. Timms was way more animated on the front stretch than he was when I talked to him by the time he got to the pit area. So I don't think they'll be exchanging Christmas cards, but I also don't think it's going to be a retaliation thing or anything like that. What do you think about Brent Marks? I think it was a great move. I assume you mean the selling of his charter or charter/franchise and his team. I think it was a great move. He doesn't have to deal with the financial liabilities and everything associated with running a team on the financial side. He can focus on driving. He's going to be the team manager. So really not much is going to change in that aspect. They're not going to make him change parts as far as I know or anything like that. So I think this is great for his career. He's been doing the family team for the better part of his career. I think he ran for CJB for a short time. And I think this is going to take him take him to the end of his career. And as he put it, life-changing money. So if he can put himself in a better spot, good for him. Next one to watch, Cullen Hutchinson. He was something in a midget at I-55 both nights. Maybe if that's the direction he wants to go. I did not, unfortunately, get a chance to watch the midget stuff. Admittedly, not that I would anyway. But I saw the Ironman highlights. I was at 360 Nationals. But maybe if that's the direction he wants to go, I think that's like anything else. There's a lot of young guys, whether it's be California or other places, who could be moving up through the ranks. Jeremy, what's your thoughts on the PA Posse 410 Sprint Car Series running Friday and Saturday during the Knoxville Nationals this weekend? I'm all for the sport shutting down for this weekend. I know places have got to make money. I know tracks got to make money. In order to do that, you got to hold shows. This is the Super Bowl. And last I checked, the NFL doesn't play extra games on the same date as the Super Bowl. So I would like if nobody ran, so the sprint car world can focus on it. Not that it doesn't already, but I think it would even be more meaningful. I think running Clinton County and Sealands Grove this weekend maybe isn't the best tact. I do not think it's the best. I do not think those are the best dates. So I question what their crowd's going to look like, especially Friday, Saturday night. Not good, in my opinion. I think they saddled him with those dates, and they're not great dates. But maybe they make some money through a sponsor or whatever. There's more things that go into making money than just fan count or car count. We'll see how they do, but I'm all for the sport shutting down for this weekend. Hello, Jeremy. Racing last weekend was great. Viewing at I-55 and Knoxville. Multiple lanes of racing, good close racing, great for sprint car racing leading up to the biggest weekend of the year. Have to agree, even in Knoxville and all the way through to last night's Oski event, the Front Row Challenge, I think the racing's been pretty good. I thought Sunday Capitani Classic, if not for that red flag, it was going to be spectacular. I thought it was still good. Top five were pretty close. And again, I thought the last few laps there were going to be really, really good, if not for the red. So I've been pleased with the racing so far. Front Row Challenge didn't disappoint. I thought the 360 Nationals finale was decent. And of course, I-55 is usually good for the Ironman. So I agree. Maybe it's just for show, but a lot of the car reveals have front mud covers. Did Knoxville back out of the no front mud covers? I don't know if it's because it's a World of Outlaws sanctioned event, if that was something that came into play there. even though it's not a full points race, it is on their schedule. So I don't know if maybe the World of Outlaws stepped in and they're going by those rules instead. Jeremy, what's your honest opinion? Well, I always give my honest opinion. What's your honest opinion on the weather forecast for Knoxville this weekend? Not looking good at the moment. Hopefully the forecast improves. I was just at dinner and Brent Smith and I were talking about it. It's improved for Thursday slightly. I think Wednesday we're good. And Thursday, I think there could be a window. Friday, again, I think there could be a window. Saturday, I think we're good after a certain point. When the dew point's in the 70s, you're going to have so much moisture in the air, and I think it's potluck. I think the percentages are 50-50, and you're just waiting for precipitation. Is it going to be a shower and then move on? I think we'll have to wait and see. I think the mornings are worse than the night. I think the mornings are bad, and it's how much rain do you get? The Duncans are the best in the business. They've been working on this track every day, and I think we can still get everything in. I just think it could be start, stop, start, and I think it also could be maybe see us bump a show up a little bit. We'll have to see how it all develops. And again, it's Tuesday. This stuff's going to change daily. Jeremy, do you think Spencer Bayston makes the feature on Saturday during the Nationals? Not this year. I just think they're struggling right now, and they're kind of, I think they'll probably put a rider in, I would assume, which will help. But I think it's going to depend on a lot of different things. I think he needs good conditions, meaning a good pill draw. Depending on what the weather does in his starting spot, I think that could come into play. But all things created equal and everything being normal, I think they're going to struggle this year. But you never know. Last year, they struggled all season in the Jason Myers Racing car, number 14, and Spencer put it in the show. So anything's possible. I just don't like the position they're in right now. The chat is hopping. This is what happens, Jeremy, when you show up an hour late. I'm sorry. The time zone thing makes things a little more difficult. Like, share, and comment. Yes, please do. First time I've seen Ryan Timms fired up and express his honest opinion, which I fully understand after Oskaloosa. Great to see his passion for sprint car racing. I think he realizes that Larson was going to get him anyway. And, I mean, Ryan was making mistakes. He fully admits that. Kyle was there. I just don't think he likes the way in which Kyle passed him. Talking to Ryan Timms, he was going to run out of fuel anyway. He started to run out with a lap or two to go, and he fell to third. Look, I think there's a lot to this thing at Oskaloosa. People act like Larson's the only person who's done this. I mean, I've seen this since I started going to sprint car racing in 1984. I think people forget the Steve Kinzer suicide slide. I know one night at Williams Grove, he took out Brad Doty, who was his teammate doing that. I think people forget Sammy Swindell. They forget Fred Raymer. They forget some of these other guys who did similar things. So yes, they're going faster now. This isn't me defending anybody. It's just, I know what I've seen for the last, 42 years. So again, Timms didn't like it. I understand why he expressed his opinion. I don't have a problem with it. And obviously Larson got the win. 9 out of the last 10 outlaw races have been front row winner. What can be done to make the racing better? I don't think we need to look at it as, it was a front row winner. I think we need to look at, was it a good race? And Peevely, for instance, was a good race. I think you could have if you're looking at box scores and just looking at where they started, I don't think that's indicative of how good a race is. In fact, I think it's a disservice. I've seen races in which the leaders traded the top spot numerous times. They just, when they came across the line, they were scored in the same position. So I understand what you're saying, but I don't think there needs to be wholesale changes. I think it's very track dependent. I think the Grove was not good last week. No argument out of me. It wasn't good. Peevely, though, it wasn't good Friday because they got so much rain. But Saturday night, I didn't hear anybody complain about that race. So I don't think anything needs to be done just yet. I think that would be panicky. It is sad that Larson can do no wrong in a lot of people's eyes. Yeah, I don't understand that. To me, I judge him the same way I would judge anybody else. That doesn't really matter to me. I just don't think you need to overcorrect either and judge him harshly, more harsh than you would other people. And again, I've seen these types of things for 42 years. In fact, I've seen a lot worse. So, and let's face it, if Larson does that to Aaron Reitzel, nobody's saying anything. If he does it to David Gravel, nobody's saying anything. In fact, everybody loves it. So I do think it depends who it's being done to and other factors involved. After watching Knoxville last weekend, one thing that concerned me was seeing officials running onto the track to accidents before all the cars have come to a stop. This is a disaster waiting to happen. They do react quick. I stand in turns 3 and 4, and yes, I've seen that as well. Hopefully they know what they're doing. Hopefully a problem doesn't develop or disaster, as you said. I'm hoping it doesn't happen. So you definitely got to be mindful of moving cars. Agreed. Thoughts on Joe Axum and Skylar G not calling an Uber? I guess everybody's seen the quote unquote mug shots. I guess I don't, I see this all the time. Every year we go through this. It's going to happen. It's not my bag, but I don't think Knoxville jams them up. I think they probably stay a night in the clink and then come out the next day, pay a fine, and it's no harm, no foul. I've talked to a couple officers here, and I know they try not to jam anybody up. Do I wonder if they would jam a guy like me up or some of the people in the chat or whatever? I don't know, but yeah, I don't know why you don't call an Uber or make arrangements so you don't have anything happen, because it does happen to at least one guy every year, as far as a driver or owner or crew member. It seems to be an annual thing. Again, much like some of the other things I've talked about, it's not changing. If Gravel did that to anyone, the internet would explode with people complaining. I agree. And again, that's like I said, it depends who does it and who it's done to. And it just so happens it's Larson, and people either lose their minds or they go out of their way to defend it. I don't even think Kyle defended it. I know in the interview with me, he said, yeah, I did clear him. He didn't lie about it. So I think he probably thought he was going to, but that's not what happened. And here we are. There's just over 7,000 people living in Knoxville. Wish more people would support their weekly racing and fill their backstretch grandstand. I hate looking at it constantly empty all the time. There's a good interview with Brian Brown on Knoxville Nights. I got a clip of it the other day, and he talked about that very topic. I know back in central Pennsylvania, there's concern in New Jersey. New Egypt is being sold for non-racing purposes. And I do think the weekly show is in jeopardy, and I do think it's something that needs to be discussed. And I do think promoters need to get together and figure out how they can sell their product on a weekly basis. It's not hard selling a sanctioned show. People want to see the stars. They want to see, the Buddy Kofoids, David Gravels, Carson Macedo, Logan Schuchart, Donnie Schatz. And then on the high limit side, Rico Abreu, Aaron Reitzel, Tyler Courtney, Brent Marks, and so on. It's selling that weekly show, especially when you're weighing cost with the number of races. There's a lot of factors that go into it, streaming during bad weather, whatever the case is. And I think the promoters need to figure it out, or there's going to be no weekly racing. Look at the picture Wu just posted. There are more people watching this live tonight than currently at the Nas concert. I'm not going to say I'm disappointed. I hope we get more people watching this live tonight. Yeah, I was asked to go down there, and first off, I have the live show. The other thing is I'm not getting caught in any nonsense, anything going on. I can't do that, but I'd rather be on here with you guys. So here I am. What exactly is the McCarl fundraiser raising funds for? I would assume it's his deal. He's a promoter. This is capitalism, baby. He can make money. I don't begrudge a guy putting his money up to make money. I'm not going to begrudge a guy. Who cares what it funds? He's putting on the show. He's taking the risk. He should get the rewards for it. Jeremy, when have you seen it before? Seen what? Do you mean? I assume you mean a guy running the Nationals prelim and not running Saturday. Rico Abreu did it when he was running trucks. Rico Abreu qualified for the A main, and Canales took it out, tagged the rear, and took it out for the A main on Saturday. The same guy who will do it for Kyle if everything works out that way. So I've seen it before. It's not something that really bothers me. If they don't want him in the A main, you beat him. Simple as that. I'm at Knoxville. Had lunch at the Rib Shack. Macri was there. I had the sling on left. Then I saw the rig and trailer pull out. Rumor was he's headed back to Pennsylvania. I would assume, he can't race it. And I said in my 90 at 9 this morning, I hope he takes the rest of the year and just heal up. Just get out of this year. It hasn't been a good 12 months as far as injury wise. Now he's still won races and, defended his King's Royal title, which doesn't happen often. And still one of the best in the sport. I hope he takes the rest of the season and gets totally healthy, goes into 2027 fresh. Do I think they'll put somebody else in the car? I think there's a possibility for the Tuscarora 50 and National Open. But for this weekend, it wouldn't make sense to. So I'm not surprised at all that they headed out of town. Could someone please get Shane Liebig on line 1? Yeah, I don't know what he said. I know what I can guess, but I don't know what he said. So only he and Kyle know that at this point, unless somebody was standing close by. Will Terry McCarl continue to promote and grow the Oski Challenge into the future? It's a spectacular event, in my opinion. He's been doing it a long time, so I don't think he's going to slow down anytime soon. They had a good grandstand crowd, had a good infield crowd. The racing was really good and has been for a few years. So I don't think there's any reason for him to stop it. These high-limit charters are selling at premium so far. Could we see a bubble happening on these charters down the road? Well, anything can happen. I just think the value is set up for it to to escalate. If you look at what they're paying now through 2029, they go up. So if the value goes up, what you have to pay to buy one's going to go up. It's no different than if you own a mom and pop grocery store and you want to sell it and somebody wants to buy it, they're going to take your gross for the year and they're going to times it by 3 to 5. And if your gross keeps going up, that number keeps going up what you're going to sell it for. Now, does that mean there's going to be buyers? Obviously, it's like anything else. Somebody's got to be willing to pay for it. But the value through 2029, which are the values we know right now, they go up. So therefore, the sale price as well should go up. How many times have I seen Danny Dietrich right rear little Freddie or Brian Monteith? They all misjudge at times. I've seen Freddie do it. I've seen Dietrich do it. I don't think it happens like that. I think I've only seen Danny do it. I saw him chop Freddie at the Grove, but that was a tit for tat, so to speak. They do not get along. I saw Dietrich do it to Monteith at Lincoln, but I think that also had something behind it. But I don't see it that often from those two. But yes, I've seen this over the years. I just, it's not new to me. Let's put it that way. Any word about someone possibly filling in for Macri's car this week? Not this week. I don't think you're going to see that this week. I think you could see it, though, for, say, the Tuscarora 50 National Open and some races, obviously, to prepare for those events. If Thursday gets washed out, how does the rest of the week work? Is there a chance Hard Knocks gets scrapped? I think that is one possibility. I think Knoxville has a bunch of contingencies in place. They've been doing this a long time. They could go with a day-night program. They could scrap Hard Knocks. Wednesday and Thursday are the most important entities, and then the finale. I would think that there is a scenario in which that could get scrapped, but I don't know what it would take for that to happen. Again, they have a lot of contingencies in place for the weather. Does Steven Snyder Jr. make the A for the Nationals? No. I like what they did at Oski. I thought, and again, I've said this many times. I said it on the Race Day Live show. There's a difference between just getting laps, running around in 18th, and quality laps at the front of the field where you're racing top guys. He was racing Austin McCall and James McFadden and dicing for 5th. I think he was up to 4th at one point. He fell back to 6th, but I thought that was a quality start for him. He finished, I believe, 20th and 14th at the Ironman over the weekend. So I like the start he has. I think Steven Snyder Jr. is going to be good. I just think he needs those quality laps. But making the Knoxville Nationals A main, that's going to be, I wouldn't predict that. What do you think of Danny Dietrich's comments about Logan Schuchart? I was surprised Logan did that. I didn't think it was necessary, but I'm also not in a sprint car trying to lap somebody in the Ironman. Again, his comments, I'm not surprised. They had an incident, I believe, at Baps Motor Speedway last year during the Outlaw Show. I know people have different views on the Logan Schuchart gravel stuff that happened at Volusia. I think Logan is probably getting more aggressive. He hasn't been winning as much. When a driver isn't winning, that tends to happen. I've seen it again for years, but not surprised about Danny's comments. I didn't hear him in totality. So I was looking for him and just couldn't find him. So I think he said he's been doing that all year. I would say Logan's been spicier this year than other years. So I have no problem with his comments. Sammy Swindell to the 39. Oh, stop it. Stop it. That isn't happening. No way. Great deep dive with Sean Keane. Sean did a great job, and it was interesting to hear his Tyler Walker story because obviously he was driving, Walker was driving for them at Knoxville and then just left. His parents took him home, obviously had some extracurricular problems, I would say is the way to say it. And really, Sean and the team really they didn't get an explanation. So that was an interesting story. Yeah, if you missed a Sean Keane interview, check it out on our YouTube channel. There's some other guys coming up after the Knoxville Nationals. I'm booking them this week, and I'm going to get back on the weekly schedule of the deep dive. Some good guests coming up. Tyler Walker to 39M. You'd have to find him first. I think Jeremy would have been the media representative in the Oski foot race. Oh, boy. No. At 54, I don't think I can outrun those guys. My form might be better, but I don't think I can outrun those guys. Give me a little bit to drop some LBs and get in better shape, and we'll be good to go. Friendly reminder, Sprint Car Unlimited Deep Dive and 90 at 9 are now available on all major podcast platforms. Yeah, I had somebody, I think it was either in the Facebook messages or in direct messages on the back end was saying something to me. I should be on Apple Podcasts. So I think it's there. Eric handles all that. So yell at producer Eric on that. That takes the onus off me. Do you think the way Larson drives is tarnishing what he is doing for the sport? That's a tough question. I think it's going to depend who the person is. There's people who like him, and no, it won't. There's people who don't like him, and there it will. For a guy like me, as somebody who's impartial, who doesn't have a dog in the fight, I don't think it tarnishes that. Again, Steve Kinzer at times would rough people up. Fred Raymer would rough people up. And I think the other thing we got to remember, as time goes on, the bad things seem to be forgotten. That's just the way it is. That's society in general. So I don't think it's going to tarnish anything. He races hard, he races aggressive, and sometimes overly aggressive, and I think he'd admit that. I know talking to him, sometimes he has said he shouldn't have made that move or whatever. But do I think it's going to change? No. No, I don't. 69K timed well Sunday, but went downhill after that. Any concern about that? Or think they will be okay come Thursday? I think a lot of Thursday is going to be weather related. If they go out early, or, it might be better to go out late. Maybe the track won't be as juiced or whatever the case is. I don't worry about 69K. I think Sunday's like a glorified test session for them and for really a lot of teams. So I think they throw some things at it and see what sticks. So I think those 2 laps at the beginning are more of a telltale than anything after that. So I think Pittman will be just fine, and I think everything else is going to be determined by track conditions, pill draw, things like that. What track food have you had so far while in Knoxville? None. I'm actually in, as you can see, the curtains. Everybody's talked about the curtains this week. I'm in someone's house, nice lady. She stays at her parents. She lets Brent Smith and I stay here, and we cook. We went out to dinner tonight to a nice place in Pella, Liberty Street Kitchen. Fabulous. So I don't eat at the track very much at all. Is the Ironman 55 going to have to change dates due to all the big boys wanting to get laps at Knoxville in 360? Man, the Ironman would be special with the ads of Larson, Day, Rico, Reitzel. A lot of those guys have run that at one time. I don't know if they need to change it. That's a good question. I don't know. I think they like being part of the month of money. It makes sense geographically because they're only 4 hours away from Knoxville. Guys just shoot up to go to the Capitani. I just don't know where you go with it. And that's always the problem. There's so many races now. Where do you slide? If you're going to move, where do you slide into? So I don't know if they can do that. They'll still get the outlaw guys there. It's still a full point race. As long as you get those guys, they got 31 cars, 32 cars. As long as you're getting 30 cars, it's fine. I don't think it matters. The biggest positive to the Larson-Timms incident is that Timms wasn't taken out and still finished third. He's lucky to finish third again because he ran out of fuel. I would agree with that. You never want to see a crash or an incident where somebody could get hurt, but the best part, yeah, I mean, if you want to say so. I'll be at Clinton County. Looks like Phil Walter has been busting his butt getting race sponsors and contingency awards. That's good. I know it's one of their bigger events. I just don't like the date. I wish it was sometime when everybody could go. There's no conflicts or anything like that. I guess just for the event and for the track itself, because there's going to be people who stay home and watch Knoxville. It's going to be that way. What years did Williams Grove run against Knoxville? Because I remember Dale Haymaker driving the 22 JS car to get the car owner points. It was a few years ago. It was up until a few years ago, I think, that Williams Grove still ran against the Knoxville Nationals. I can't tell you how long it's been. They kind of all run together at certain points, but it hasn't been that long that the Grove stopped running against Knoxville and other tracks for that matter. So, meaning in Pennsylvania. So, I mean, again, I just like the idea of everything focused on one race for at least this race for the year. Jeremy, if weather impacts the program, do they do double headers? They could. I've seen it done before, so I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. But I don't know if they I don't know. It's been a while. And since I've been coming out again, I haven't seen it once, but I could see it happening. But the weather isn't conducive for that. It seems to be, it's going to race overnight and through the morning some of these days. So that would kill a doubleheader. What a relief not seeing the Cowboys helmet in the background. This is our year. I'd love to say that, but I'm a realistic Cowboys fan, and I will never say it's our year. Not the way that team's run. No way. I'm hoping. Crossing my fingers for a good season. Does Danny and Logan exchange Christmas cards? Did he get a car together for this his qualifying night? Yes, Danny has put a car together for his qualifying night. So he will be at Knoxville. I was wondering that myself, but yes, they put a new car together. Give Terry McCarl credit for promoting the Oski race. Great fan turnout and quality field of cars. It was good. That race has been, you can make the argument that the last 3 to 5 years, that race has been the best one of the week. So Terry doing a good job over at Southern Iowa Speedway. Jeremy, if Tiny Kyle, what's that? makes the feature for Saturday and no shows, do they bump up someone to fill the field? No. Trevor Canales will tag the rear in the 57. And I think people need to remember this is one show. It's 4 nights, but it's one show. So if you earn a spot in the feature, you deserve that money. That I agree with Kyle on. Now, I also understand the other side about taking a spot and it affecting points and the outcome of what's happening into Saturday's A main. But still, if he puts it in the show, he's earned his spot. He deserves at least start money. And Trevor Canales will tag the rear and probably pull in after a lap or two or whatever it is. Scott on line 1, you're our first call tonight. Scott, how are you?
Oh, doing lovely, Jeremy. Thanks for all your and Eric's hard work. We're enjoying Knoxville, even though we aren't there. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I had two things. I had two things for you. First was just a comment. I had good fortune in 2014 of being there at the races, and if I recall, Thursday night was a complete rain out. They ran Thursday on Friday, and then they ran the Friday early on Saturday, and the features. Yep. So that, I guess, like you said, multiple contingencies for whatever they have. My question for you, then I'll make a quick comment and get off. My question was, how old do you have to be in a 410 sprint car? I have no clue. I'm sure there's different ages for different organizations, but I was curious on that. That was my question. And then the other thing was just a comment. Let's remember to be graceful before we judge someone who's in addiction. Let's not make fun of it. I'm sure we wouldn't want to be in the same situation. Let's be graceful and send them good intentions instead of making fun. That's all I was going to say, Jeremy, okay? God bless everybody. Love the chat. Love the hard work.
Thanks, Scott. I appreciate it. The age thing, it depends on what series, what track. There's different rules. Like you can't run High Limit or the World of Outlaws until you're 16. Or at least I believe it's 16 for High Limit. And I think the Outlaws is 16 as well. Ryan Timms had to wait. Jet Barnes can't run High Limit, but they can run different tracks. So it all depends. And there are also sometimes exceptions made. I know different series. Now, you don't see it with the Outlaws or High Limit. They don't usually make exceptions, but I've seen other series make exceptions based on competency. It just depends what area you're in. It depends what you just don't like. Pennsylvania, I know some drivers have lied about their age to race. So again, it just all depends where you're at, what track, and what series. Do you think the way Larson drives is tarnishing what he is or has been doing for the sport? He was obviously way faster than Timms and should have easily been able to pass him without junking him. He didn't junk him. Okay, junking him is putting him into the fence and flipping. He didn't junk him. Timms finished third. So I think that's a stretch. But no, I don't, because I think people know by now Larson's aggressive. He's going to take risks. He's going to take chances, so on and so forth. I think it's no different than if there's other guys who you could say are equally aggressive. So I don't think it'll tarnish anything. And again, as time progresses, people forget any negativity. It's just the way it is. You know, Dale Earnhardt Sr. was viewed one way years ago, and now you can't say anything bad about him. So I think he'll be fine. Jeremy, Mallet and Neil joining you later this week. From what I gather, on Saturday, we're going to have a race day live show. It's going to be me, Mike Mallet, TJ Buffenbarger, and Neil Wilt. We all write. Neil writes for Area Auto Racing News. Mike Mallet has Dirt Track Digest. TJ Buffenbarger has TJ Slideways. And, of course, I have this platform. So obviously, I think weather is going to determine, if everything's on schedule and whatnot. But yes, that's the plan so far. How would they handle one of the prelim Hard Knocks nights being rained out? It depends. They have different contingencies in place. So it's going to depend how it falls. There's probably a contingency where Hard Knocks doesn't happen, or they double up a show, and I think the weather is fluid. So it's going to depend what happens. And I don't think we can look at weather forecasts all day long. It doesn't mean they're going to happen that way. So I think it's going to be a moving target the rest of the week. Wednesday's good. That's what I know. Didn't Spencer recently change chassis and engine builder combination? Yes, he had a Maxim and switched to Rider. How many Riders he has? Can he use one for Knoxville? Or, is it whatever the case is, I think he'll be probably using the Maxim and the Rider at Knoxville if he's able to. Who else thinks Schuhart's car is best in show winner? I think that's yet to be determined. You got to watch Gold sometime, because with the black racing service, and I only know this because Brent takes pictures, it sometimes says it doesn't show up well. So I haven't seen them all yet. I'm not going to judge them before I see them. But I haven't even seen Logan's, believe it or not. He saw it. Brent saw it. I didn't. So I couldn't pull it up. Do you think Donnie switching to Rider will help him? Yes, I do. I've heard there's one in the trailer, and it could be used this week. It's one of Brenham Crouch's. So we'll see. Is the 39M done for the year? I think that's way too early to tell. I do know they have full-time crew guys, and I could see them putting somebody else in it in an interim basis. They did with Casey Kane. Now you have the Tuscarora 50 and the National Open come up. I wouldn't be surprised if they put somebody in it. Do we get a silly season move this weekend? No. But I do think there's a couple out there. I don't think we see it this weekend. There's nothing brewing enough right now that, at least that I've heard of, that there's going to be a trigger pulled in the next 4 days. Any big topics up for discussion at the owners meeting this year? I think that's always a moving target. I think you definitely could see. I don't think High Limit has as much of that going on right now. It's new, it's shiny. I think the owners are happy. The franchises are selling at a good price. So I think there's probably less, hot topics at a High Limit one than a World of Outlaws meeting. I also think the owners are different. I think the group is different personalities. I'm sure there'll be some safety things that come up. I think that could be the wheel cover thing. There was an incident where Aaron Reitzel had he banged wheels with Brenham Crouch and his wheel cover came off. And Knoxville wanted to fine him. And I've yet to hear if they did or didn't, but that's ridiculous. It was an accident. Like, it wasn't like it was driving down the backstretch and flew off. That I get. But I don't understand if you bang wheels and it comes off, that's not your fault. So I think stuff like that could come up. But other than that, I don't think it'll be too contentious. Bernie 71 has been fast since going back on their old notes. I think so too. I think Parker Price Miller's look decent and he times well. If he gets a good qualifying spot, can lay down a lap and get through the heat race, he could lock it into the A main on Saturday. I definitely think that car is good around Knoxville right now. Jeremy, saw Rigsby last night at Oski. Safe to assume he'll be here the rest of the week on business. I think it's a very, very good assumption. And I don't think Rigsby'd be here if there wasn't business to attend to. Now, does that mean it's going to be successful? I don't think that's the case necessarily, but I do think he's in town to talk to certain people. And I do know the Knoxville streaming rights are up for bid. So, yes, I think he's here for a reason. Parker Price Miller car is elite. Okay, I don't know about elite. I mean, I like the color. It's colorful. It'll show up. So I do like the look of it. Elite is a word I don't throw around too often. I'd like to hear Danny Dietrich's take on the Larson Timms incident last night. I would assume he has one. Maybe he'll call in. Who gets canned this weekend? I don't think anybody gets canned. I don't think there's going to be a major move made. I think something really bad would have to happen, like on track. So I just don't see it happening this year. Knoxville safety crew saved Carson Macedo by acting fast. Yes, that's true. Very true. Very true. It's kind of a give and take. Yeah, I'm not criticizing their safety crew. I'm saying that sometimes you got to be mindful of what's coming. You don't want to compound a problem by having another issue. LOL. Oh. Anyone up for Chinese buffet tonight? Wow. 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 Jeremy, which drivers or owners have gotten arrested in past years? I'm not going to go through that list. Come on. We all know who they are. I think there's been a lot of them, and I think a lot of them we didn't know. I don't think it's fair to, back through when they didn't have social media where it all came out, we're in a different, don't act like this didn't happen years and years and years ago. It's not like all of a sudden, we drink alcohol and get loopy. It's always happened. It's just now we have social media and see it. Jeremy should be at Marshalltown tonight. No interest. And I know this is not popular to say. I go to a ton of races through the year, and I also have the live show tonight. I wasn't giving up the live show to go to Marshalltown. I just wasn't. And the amount of races I go to this Tuesday night, I'm okay to work on some stuff for later in the week. I want to get my Wednesday storylines done. I want my Thursday storylines done to where I can put those on the website. I have to do the live show, and it's just not it's a 360 show. Marshalltown looks great. We have it on the TV, but I'm not going to go and just make it a longer week. Southern Iowa over Knoxville and Williams Grove changed my mind. I'm not going to go that far. Knoxville has been racing pretty well. Sunday's Capitani Classic was good, and it was going to get even better if not for that red flag. I'm not going to take Southern Iowa over Knoxville. That's a stretch for me. Hit like, folks. Get to 300. Yes, thank you very much. Appreciate it. I think the PA Posse series is testing the water for significantly lowering the number of weekly programs in PA. That's an interesting thought. And here's the problem with that. So you have people who buy reserve seats for the year. Are you going to lower their reserve seat prices? Because if you don't, and you keep diminishing the number of shows, they're going to stop paying that reserve seat price. That's number one. Number two, you got to be mindful of sponsors. They pay a certain amount to get so many races at the track. So you have to be mindful that we get less races, or are we going to get less money in sponsorship? That's a slippery slope there. I know Lincoln was sneaky about it last year I don't know about the other tracks, but I know Lincoln did it because they do their reserve seat. They release their reserve seating early. It didn't change from the previous year, and they have less races this year. So I wonder if that's going to affect their renewals next year. That's an equation that you got to make balance out to kind of get the same income you've been drawing over season reserve seats and sponsorship or advertising. I remember Ken Eckert writing about the Knoxville and Iowa law enforcement officers regularly. Yes. Kevin Eckert, he lives in Reading now, I believe. I run into him every once in a while. Yeah, I mean, the police blotter, just keeping up with that. I don't go to Dingus and stuff, so I don't really catch it until the next morning. And at that point, it's out. It's everywhere, especially with social media. We all know it goes on. Knoxville police are very vocal about the rules during the Nationals. You have to be pretty dumb to get busted. They give you the guidelines more so than any other time during the year. And as long as you don't, at least this is what they tell me, as long as you don't make it excessive and really bad, they're not going to, I guess, make it life difficult on you. You might go into clink overnight, sleep it off, fine. But again, I don't know. I am just so used to seeing it that it's like, okay, big shock. Jeremy, are you growing a goatee? This is the same as I looked for years and years and years and years, other than I'm grayer. So I'm not growing anything. Good to see Lance have a good run Saturday, going 11th to 2nd at Port Royal. He needs a good run. Needed a good run. They've been struggling. I noticed that Sharp Pat Cole is now in the Book 13, and that recently Austin Bishop has scaled back his schedule. I don't think they scaled back their schedule because I think it had to do with he got injured. He got injured for a spell there. And he got injured, I think it was during Speed Week. And then he took a little time off before coming back. Not a ton. So I think that had something to do with it. Wondering if Casey Kane will be back in the car for some shows race with the 39M. Could be, but Casey now has his own car and he has his own full-time crew. I don't know how that's going to come into play. I could see it happening, but then again, is he too far along with his team now to just park everything and do whatever with his crew? Don't know. Explain the qualifying format for Oskaloosa. I was wondering if this was going to come up. Larson breaks in his heat and finishes 8th. Does not run the B and starts 11th in the feature. They do a point system, and it's a passing point system. And so you get points for qualifying. Then you get points for where you finish in the heat race. The problem is there wasn't a lot of passing in the heat races. So there wasn't enough. You weren't able to accrue enough points to knock Larson down in the order. He got knocked out of the top 8, but like, for instance, Ryan Timms. Ryan Timms didn't pass a car in his heat race. And yet he was in the foot race and sat on the pole. So if more guys would have passed cars in the heat race, Larson would have had to run the B main. But because of his points and how many he got in qualifying, combined with what he had in the heat race and where it shook out, he was 11th. So there was no reason for him to run the B main. He was locked in. I talked to Drew Warner today from Tarleton. They couldn't believe they were in the foot race. They didn't pass a car in the heat race. If more guys would have passed cars in the heat race, Larson would have been back further in the lineup and would have had to run the B. Did Mark sell his high limit charter too soon? Well, that's interesting. Or was he in dire financial shape and needed to sell to continue on the tour? I think it was timing. I think you don't know if you're going to get another opportunity. And I think he got a good deal where he could continue to be the driver, be the manager, a contract in place, obviously financially met his needs as far as selling his team and the franchise. I think it was a deal he couldn't pass up. I don't think he was in dire need. I think that's an extreme word. I think he was looking for partners to kind of cushion the blow or cushion the financial blow. But I think it just everything lined up. And I think the people involved, I think Chase Briscoe, Bobby Hillen, I think they talked multiple times and they got a deal that everybody was happy with. So why not take it? You got to remember, Brent Marks, too, is 35. He wants to race till 40 and then reevaluate. So it's just the timing. Everything kind of lined up on this. Any guesses for who could hop into 39M? Oh, this is interesting. A free agent or someone that currently has a ride but may not after Knoxville. I can think of a couple guys. Honestly, Justin Henderson. I was talking with Neil Wilt, in fact, mentioned him, and I agree. He has laps in Pennsylvania. I think he maybe be a good choice if this is the direction they decide to go. I don't know what the thought is right now. I did not talk to anybody from the 39M, so it's really probably too fresh right now, too. So let him think about it for a week or whatever. But Justin Henderson sticks out. I like Steven Snyder Jr. I don't know what his deal with the 51 is. I don't know if that's for past Knoxville, the rest of the year, or what. Ashton Torgerson. He had some good runs at Port and in the area, so maybe he's a guy. But Justin Henderson would be at the top of my list. I don't know what his deal is with McGee once the Knoxville season ends, but not a threat to take Anthony's ride. Nice guy. Has won in Central PA. I believe he has a third place finish in the National Open. So maybe that's a guy, sleeper guy to call. Rico wins this Saturday. I think he's one of the favorites. I think you got Timms, Gravel, Rico. Don't sleep on Aaron Wright. So I think Aaron Wright's going to be in the mix. I think his car looks the best on the bottom. And the bottom's important in that race. So I think those four guys, trying to think if there's anybody else. I think it's more wide open this year than it's been in a long time. So yes, I wouldn't be surprised if Rico wins this year. Over under on number of cautions during the A main Saturday, or will front row starter lead flag to flag all 50 laps? I mean, they have the last, 3 years, 4 years, whatever it was. I think it's possible. I don't know what track conditions are going to be like, with all the rain, and will it rain? Will it not rain? Will it be heavy? Do they run during the day or bump it up, or what the conditions are? All that aside, I'm going to say there's a pass for the lead. Cautions, 3. Usually don't have a ton of them in that race. Jeremy, will there be a new point leader in the PA Posse series since Chase Dietz running Knoxville? No, you got to get those races in Saturday. I do not know what the weather is back home. Sorry to say. But it doesn't matter because he gets mulligans. And I don't think he's missed a race yet. So this is what makes the mulligans stupid. It's because you get 3 of them. So Chase Dietz is going to win those points. Last week, someone said the 1A was planning on doing I-55 in Knoxville. I was told they're staying local this weekend. Not surprised. Not surprised. Liebig was MFing Reitzel 3 weeks ago, then hugging him in 360 victory lane. Most racers are thicker skinned than their fans and Chaz. That is 100% true. It's 100% true. Danny Sams was hustling until he dropped. Yeah, you kind of root for Danny Sams. It's an under budget team. Mom and dad are his crew. You hope for good things there. And again, I just can't help but thinking, how would he do with the All-Stars or Power I and kind of build up to running high limit? And he's whether it's bad luck or just being in the wrong place at the wrong time or just not having speed this year, he's kind of getting kicked around in high limit competition. So I don't know what the future holds for him. Jeremy, is it true Sunday night Joe Mooney pounded Brady Bacon 3 feet into the ground head first and drew a smiley face on his ass? No, he did go over. He had some harsh words, and then that was it. He walked away. So no, it wasn't that bad. I was actually standing there. Jeremy, what's the plan for a monsoon week of rain for the Knoxville officials? Even if they get breaks in the weather, there's no way the track is going to produce good racing. Unfortunately, that could be true. It's the weather. It's the weather. I don't know what's going to happen. It could all change day to day. By the way, it looks like it's not going to be too bad in Central PA this week, so they'll probably get those 2 races in just per the other comment. I think it's way too early to tell. Knoxville has contingencies in place. Does that mean it's going to be a great feature? No. We'll have to wait and see. What are your thoughts on the Outlaws trading cards? None. It's not my thing. So I mean, I guess it's good for kids if they want to get kids involved. I don't really know a lot about it. I don't think it's something you're going to trade down the road where it's going to make money. Like, it's not like having a Sandy Koufax rookie card. It's not going to be like having a Michael Jordan rookie card, or if you're going to do it for that. So it's not an investment because there just isn't a market for it. But I mean, for kids, to get kids involved, give them something to kind of, and David Gravel, of course, and to get kids involved. Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad thing at all. I mean, it's not something I do, but I don't think it's a bad thing. I just don't think it's an investment thing. 2 different things there. Macri won't be ordering the Baconator at Wendy's anytime soon. I doubt it. That was a weird deal. There's a lot of thoughts on that. I mean, I don't blame either driver a ton. I just going into turn 1 at Knoxville on the start of a heat race or the A-main, well, not so much the A-main unless it's a prelim. It's treacherous because everybody's trying to go to the top or go to the bottom. And if you have a lot of cars, you're going to meet. I think we've seen it a lot. We've seen David Gravel and Schoenberg and others throughout the years. That first corner hold on. You hold on through there. So even as a fan, you're watching that just kind of wincing. So it's a tough deal. I will be watching the Selinsgrove Speedway race from the Jeremy Elliott suite. That's funny. I don't get paid for that suite. Get Lee Stauffer on the show or deep dive. I've talked to Lee recently, so you never know. We were talking about cats. He was talking about his cats, and I have a cat as well. So we didn't really talk about racing that much. Remember Sammy and Mark going blow for blow, night in, night out, back in the Channel Lock working days? Yeah, I do. I do remember those days. Jeez, makes me feel old, but yes. That's what I mean. Stuff went on back then too. You can tell you are not on Comcast Wi-Fi. I'm sorry about that. I can't control the Wi-Fi. I think my hotspot would be worse. But yeah, I only have 2 lines out of 3. I apologize for that. Jeremy and Brent sleep in buck. What? Sugar Bear. No, separate rooms. Thank you very much. Bunk beds. Thorson back on bars. No more coils. They said they were going to throw different things at this car for half miles. They feel the coils might not be the way to go in half miles. Talked to them a little bit about it last week for a 90 at 9. Look, when you're running bad on half miles, you got to do something. And I think I might be a combo car. He called it a combo car. But yes, it has bars on it. Will Sammy ever retire? Your guess is as good as mine. What's he, 70 now? Something like that? Will you be stealing those curtains for your apartment? I will not, because I do want to come back here. And the Kate, whose house it is, has been really nice to let us stay here, and I'm going to do everything I can to keep it that way. Are you driving me and Brent Smith to the Rib Shack this week? Just landed in Omaha. Colton Gauss. No, I'm not eating at the Rib Shack. I eat here. We cook food here. It's better than the Rib Shack. Trust me. You go to the Rib Shack. Derek Hagar is working on a coil car too. The 45 he's driving is on them. Good luck. Good luck. Is Brent sitting there watching you this whole time, or is he in a bunk bed? No. Brent is watching Marshalltown. In fact, he just peeked around the corner. Ryan Taylor. I had to tell him whose question it was. No, he's watching Marshalltown in the living room. Bunk beds. Never been to Knoxville. Would like to go. Any tips for new attendees? Try and stay as close to town as you can, because there's a lot going on and it's a great atmosphere, stuff going on at the museum. If you're going to get the total experience, I think you need to do that if it's possible. Maybe stay in Pella, which isn't too far away if you can't get in town. I think you need to, again, look at the itinerary for the Hall of Fame, see what they have going on, and just attend as much as you can. Enjoy everything. Go to, if you can come in for the Cappy on, where you can catch the Front Row Challenge in Oskaloosa, and then the 4 nights at Knoxville, that's a good value. You get a little variety there, and just enjoy. Who's your pick for the biggest name to not make the Nationals? Ooh, I have to think about that one. Biggest name not to make the Knoxville Nationals. I think most of the big names are going to make it. I think even Donnie comes forward. If he makes his prelim night A main, he comes forward. They still race well. I think they're going to put the rider in. I think they'll qualify better. That's a hard one. Big name to not make it. I don't necessarily think it'll be a High Limit or World of Outlaws guy. I think you could see. Look, Larson could not make it. He's not made it before. I'm not saying he's not going to make it. That's a tough call. I have to think about that. Insanely hot take. Rico doesn't make it. Ooh, yeah, no, I'm not going with that one. He looked too good in a 410 here this year. I think he makes it. I think he starts in the top 5. Hot take, Donnie Schatz won't make Nationals. That's the guy I'm thinking of, Sugar Bear. I think 27 years now? If he doesn't qualify good, he's not going to make it. And that's my biggest concern. Buddy misses the A main. I think that's a possibility. Not great at it. The thing is, he's good in the Hard Knocks program. I think it's going to depend again on the weather. I hate to keep going back to that because you have that Hard Knocks program. And I thought Buddy had 0.0 chance of making it last year. And he put on a show Friday night. Now, if that race doesn't happen, or if it's during the day, that changes everything. So I think it's very weather dependent as far as if the program's altered day to day, I think that could keep some guys out. The problem for Danny Sams is what regional series are near Florida. Well, none of them are, but how many high limit races are near Florida? He'd be better off, I think, running Knoxville weekly. Store the car up here. You can do that. There's places to put cars. He'd be better running Central Pennsylvania weekly. Learn and make your craft better. Learn your craft. Become a better sprint car driver. Build inventory. I think Central Pennsylvania would be a great place for Danny Sams to run. The purses are good. There's plenty of places to store the car and just fly up every weekend. To me, that's a better deal. He's going to spend less money. Jeremy, does Brian Brown make the A main? I don't think they feel as comfortable as they did in years past as far as making the A main. I think he has work to do. Does he make the A main? I was encouraged by a couple of his runs recently. Wasn't at Oski last night. Normally is. I think he gets through the B main. I think he can get through the B main. Tough one. Who has more teams in the A, High Limit or the World of Outlaws? Well, you have Gravel. Let's do the math. Gravel, Macedo, Logan Schuhart, Sheldon, Buddy. Those five, I think, make it. So you have Shots, Logan. I think it's going to be pretty close to equal. I think Courtney's a sleeper. Courtney's good here. I think Reitzel makes it. Rico makes it. Courtney makes it. Marks, I think, has looked good. I'll say the Outlaws by like one or two cars. If laps count, shouldn't one of the McCarls have a Nationals win by now? That's exactly right. Well, I mean, I don't even think it's that. Everybody's getting laps. Again, Austin McCarl and Terry McCarl and even Carson McCarl, they're past that point of just getting laps, going somewhere to get laps. They have 1,000 laps. When I talk about laps, I mean a younger guy. So everybody's getting laps. Uh-oh. There we go. Don't know what happened. I have 3 bars here. I'm going to blame Eric. What are you hearing as for who is bringing the money backing to new promotional team at I don't know if they're true. So I'm not going to speculate. I have not heard one guy, yes, he's part of the deal. I know Colin Rice is back. And then I've heard there's a backer. That's about the most I can report on it. All these comments about Marks is comical. It was a great decision, and I think Brent made it clear as to why. Remember, this is a business. That made sense for him. Family and team. Agreed. Can confirm Sprint Car Unlimited is on Apple and Spotify. Gonna be nice to listen and not deal with the pop-up YouTube commercials. Thanks, Eric. Yes, Eric is the one to thank for that. I'd probably be doing it out of a cave if it wasn't for Eric. He's not wearing a hat tonight. Jeremy, has Chaz ever tried shacking up with you either in PA or out traveling? No. Unfortunately, I've sat through a day show on Saturday running the Old Friday program on Saturday afternoon with Old World Challenge deal, as did I. The World Series Challenge thing was pretty good, actually, that particular day, but it was the only thing. Has anyone ever won the crown jewels in the same year? Grand Slam. 85 Wolfgang did it. I think Donnie Schatz did it. I have to remember. I wrote about this. I think there was 2 or 3. Mark Kinzer might have done it. Oh, you're going to make me look. I don't want to look. But I know Wolfgang did it in 85. He won the Kings Royal, Knoxville Nationals, and the Williams Grove National Open is the one you got to look at. Hang on a second. I'll check it out. Williams Grove National Opens. I think Schatz has done it. I know Schatz has done it. It's whether Steve did it. It stands to reason that he would have done it, but that isn't entirely true. Special events. Yeah, like I said, I know Donnie Schatz has done it. No Steve Kinzer there. Yeah, I know too. I'm not going to sit here and just slow things down to a crawl, but I know Schatz and Wolfgang have done it. Jeremy, what was the old World Series challenge? They did points, I think, for Australia and here for the drivers coming and going, and then they had a race. And then the guy who won that got a spot in the Knoxville Nationals A main. Now, they did slight tweaks over the years, but that was the crux of it. I think Dominic Selzy made it that way one year. He won the World All right, I'm back. Sorry, switched over to my phone. We only had a 10 meg here, so it was waning. But I'm back. Let's fire in. Unbelievable night is ruined. Sorry. I apologize. I'm back on now. Obviously, Knoxville doesn't need to raise the purses for the 360 Nationals. Still, it doesn't seem right considering the exposure and car counts, and also reminds me of the pitiful Chili Bowl purse. I think they need to work on paying down through. I think you're going to make people happier if you keep the whole top. They're okay, top 5. And then they really start to drop. The bottom starts to fall out of it. So I think they need to bolster that. I think if they do that, they'll be fine. Don't put it up top. Work from 24th to 10th first, or 24th to 6th, and then go from there. All right, guys, chat only the rest of the night. Again, I apologize. Haven't had internet problems all week. We did the pool show with Corey Neshaw for the Corey Neshaw pool. Had no problem. So I'm not really sure what's going on tonight. It's probably Brent watching Marshalltown. I'm going to blame him. Jeremy, Kyle makes $10 million a year based on my equational math. His win last night was the equivalent of a guy who makes $50,000 a year winning $100. I don't know if he makes $10 million a year. I think that's probably a bit much, but yes. Everyone worked up the Larson slider. Nowadays, with everyone so close with equipment and such, drivers have to run it on a over the edge to be up front. Yeah, I would agree. I think the package has definitely made guys have to take more chances to make passes. I agree with that. That Corey show is really good once again. Yes, check it out. It's on YouTube. We ranked the 101 drivers in the Knoxville Nationals, or I should say Corey does that. He has a pool that comes out every year. A lot of people enter it. Can make some money. It's only $31 to enter. Check it out on his Twitter page. Go to Corey Neshaw, whatever. I think we'll have Eric put it in the chat what the address is to check out Corey's pool. Enter it. It's a good time. He breaks Wednesday in 8 groups, Thursday in 8 groups, and you have 16 guys going through the week, and see if you can beat me. There's the address. It's good stuff. Corey runs a good pool. You get an update every night. Now, it might be overnight, but you get an update. Marshalltown could be the best weekly racing anywhere. Grandview right there also. Grandview's very good. I'm concerned about where the track goes if it's still around. Obviously, they had a death in the family, and I think people are on pins and needles there wondering what's going to happen in the future. Last year, Tony Stewart said that they changed engines multiple times to make Donnie happy before releasing him. Now we're hearing this again with the new team. Maybe Donnie should race 305s. Wow. I'm not going to go that far. I think that's a big leap. But it's no secret Kistler has some problems this year. So just because it doesn't mean it's not true. Have we seen the value of fire bottles in sprint cars yet? No. Now, look, I don't want to be the one guy where you don't have one and then you end up burning up. So I think, like anything, the problem with sprint car racing is we don't test things enough. There's no long testing period and data to back it up. I think that's the biggest problem with this sport in general. It's very reactive, not proactive. And I think people put stuff in cars sometimes because they become an associate sponsor. I think that goes on. I think to think it doesn't is ludicrous. It's short-sighted. So has it worked? I know people complain about it, but I don't want to be the one guy where I burn up because it's not there and it could have worked. Do I think there could be more testing? Absolutely. And I think the drivers and the teams would appreciate that as well before being told they have to buy it. What's your thoughts on High Limit doing a pre-race show to compete with the one at the track? They seem to feather the line of respect, history in all aspects. Well, I mean, I guess we could say the same thing about me doing this tonight when there's the NOS thing downtown. Look, I just think it's content. I think High Limit and Flow Racing in general are trying to up their coverage of the Knoxville Nationals, and they should. If they want to be a media outlet, you got to have a presence at the biggest race of the year. I don't know if it's a disrespect. I think they're doing it earlier, if I'm not mistaken. As long as they're not next to each other competing, I think it's okay. Now, obviously, if you schedule it over top, yeah, that's a little shifty. But I think they're doing it at 4 p.m. And I'm not sure when the one at the stage starts. So I'm just not up on that. Dirt Vision did a live show at Chili Bowl. Well, then there you go. What Sugar Bear said, I'm being disrespectful by going live tonight. That's right. I am. I'm good with it. Jeremy, I know you're a foodie, but have you had the pork loin from Stan near Schatz' merch trailer? So good. I've had a pork loin before. By the time I go to the track, I don't want to eat anything until I get back. Like I said, we have a good setup here. We eat better. Even have salad all week. It's and I need that. So it's just better food, I think, here, healthier for you. And we're busy at the track. You're getting notes. Things happen pretty fast on those prelim nights. So you don't want to be sitting around eating and miss something. Carson Macedo hasn't been fast on his Chevy Kistler engines. Don't believe that Donnie is washed up. Let's see what a difference in rider makes. Yes, I think that is true. And I think, too, things will be different. I think they're working on 2027 already, from what I gather. So I think at that point, then we can evaluate. I hope Chase Briscoe knows what he got himself into. I'm sure he does. He has a part-time team. I'm sure he's aware through his dad and everything that was going on. I'm sure he's well aware of what he's getting into. Sorry if you've addressed this. If Larson can't make it for the A, does it alternate get an opportunity to run? No, they do not. They will put Canales in the car and he'll tag the rear. Conor Morrell qualified 31st out of 31 at the Ironman. Bill Baylog sets up his car and set fast time. Morrell hasn't made the last 5 outlaw features. Is it time to give up? I know he's had some engine trouble lately. I was talking to him at Eldora the night he did not run the High Limit show, and he said he was short on motors. I don't know what their status is, but again, I would put Conor Morrell in that Danny Sams category where I'd like to see him get better on a regional series and then move up. I think I'm a big proponent of that. So I don't want to say give up. I would say just make a better business decision and go to a regional series. But he has tub of towels too. Does the sponsor want him to stay out on the road? There's other factors that determine where he races. So if a sponsor tells you you're going to go on the road and they're going to pay for it, they're going to go on the road. We can't even get through the second 7-car B main at Motown. Yeah, I kept an eye on it, and they were spinning and getting upside down. It's, again, if I was there, wouldn't be happy about it. I'm good where I'm at. Donnie has been working on 2027 since 2021. That's hilarious. I just know what I'm told. That's all. That's funny. Thanks, Jeremy. Putting the people first. Business is business. Yes, business is business. And going to a NOS party or going to Marshalltown wasn't it tonight. Full disclosure, even if I didn't have the live show, I'd be right where I'm at now. 15 and 41, both moving away from Kistler. What are the issues that you've heard? I'm not a motor guy. Okay. I'm hearing they're down on speed. Now, what that means, I don't know. Now, Kistler's doing the Fords. And I know Carson Macedo has said they have some pep. So I can't answer why it's happening. I just hear down on speed, not qualifying well. Both of them. The stands are the same. And look, everybody's switching. Look, was Tyler Courtney made to switch. Now Baston's made to switch. It's not a coincidence. Thoughts on the Sheldon Carson incident at the Ironman Saturday night? The slider was fine. The problem is Carson, when he got up on the cushion, it kind of shot him down a little bit. So it wasn't a bad slider. He never touched him. He cleared him by a lot. The problem is he couldn't hold it on the cushion. He came down and Sheldon was there. It's simple. Now, you can be mad at Carson, but not for the slider itself. He cleared him. Cleared him by a good amount. Just couldn't hold it on the cushion. The cushion kind of shot him down a little bit. Should the 10 owner face sanctions if indeed he used a racist remark? Larson got crucified. If that is what happened, and again, I hate to say this, and it's not going to be a pop. Not everybody's created equal. If I say it, it's going to be harsher than probably if you say it. Because, people, if Kyle says it, he's a celebrity, bigger star, whatever you want to say. His margin of error, while bigger in some cases, is smaller in others. But now here, keep in mind, you say crucified. Let's be honest. In hindsight, it's the best thing that ever happened to him. He was out of Ganassi and he went to Hendrick. And now he makes more than he ever did and won NASCAR championships. Think about that for a second. Sure, he got crucified, but nobody's talking about it now. As I said, time goes by. I don't condone any of it. However, facts are facts. He is the one guy I've ever seen in sports. Anybody know Riley Cooper? Played for the Philadelphia Eagles. Remember he was at that concert and dropped a bunch of expletives and racial stuff? His career was essentially, he still played, but he was a slot receiver in Philly and was, decent. And he was, good contract. That all went away. He still played, but it wasn't the same. Kyle definitely got lucky there. I mean, he wasn't blackballed. Don't say he was blackballed. That wasn't the case because he's still in NASCAR and he's come out the better for it. Now he did all the sensitivity stuff and all that other stuff, and that's fine. That's all well and good. But should Liebig, and again, I don't know what was said. I have no idea whatsoever. I didn't hear anything. Brent took a picture of him leaning in the car, and he didn't hear anything. So I'm not saying Kyle's making it up. Should he face sanctions? I guess it all depends who hears it and who you are. That's America, baby. That's just the way it is. Surprised to see so many teams switching to Rider. Can they support all the new customers, or is there a premium to pay to get one? This is an interesting topic because I think there's going to be motor trouble or engine problems in the sport in the near future. I think you have more and more companies going to this exclusive deal. And I think it's going to be less motors. Let's say from like Morrison has the 18 and the 2. There's some other ones floating around, but they're not going to service a bunch of people. How many is HP going to service now? And Ryder, you bring up a good point, is Ryder can't supply motors for the entire pit area. So I think this is definitely a problem or something we're going to have to look at in the future, just with these engine programs and the exclusivity and what's this mean for the sheer numbers and the number of teams and having to wait a year to get one. It's going to be I think it could end up being a major problem down the road. It seems like race drivers are generally retiring earlier than they used to in all racing. I think that we have more technology now, more information, what concussions are, what they do to the body. I think these things are hard on the body, even if you don't wreck. I think, your back, it's jarring just to run one around the speedway. I just think, you could say, oh, they're not as tough, but I would say they're probably smarter and understand what these things do to your body, and they don't want to go through it later in life and what that means. Deep dive, Billy Pouch, rest in peace, New Egypt. Billy Pouch would be good. Why is producer Eric catching flack from Sugar Bear? What did he? Oh, he's giving me the 1 minute thing. God knows. Producer. Oh, God. Now we have a Sugar Bear producer Eric rift. Donnie Schatz should retire and help his nieces race because they're okay. All right. I understand. Can't put them all up, Sugar Bear. But you got it up, so there you go. Jeremy, are you a Brent better chef? Do you bake cookies? No, I do not bake cookies. Who's a better chef? I think we probably both make different things better than the other. I know he said tonight he makes chili. I'm not a chili guy, but I couldn't make chili. So we do fine. He does a good job, and Hy-Vee's great. Hy-Vee is great. That's where we get all our food. Sanction Eric. I wouldn't know how to sanction Eric. I need Eric. Can't sanction Eric. Looking here in Central PA, who do you think would make a good promoter for the future? Ex-driver. Whoa. That went a little quick. I couldn't. Ex-driver, track employee, sponsor, owner, car owner, etc. Central PA promoter continued. Do you think Alan Kreitzer would get involved in a track full-time again? No, I do not think Alan Kreitzer would get involved in a track full-time. He's been there, done that. He has PA Speed Week now, and that's it. I don't think he has any interest in doing day-to-day stuff. As far as your other question, I don't think it matters what you've done in the past. I think it's what you can do in the future. I think to be a promoter, you need to understand your customers. Your customers are the fans. Your customers are the teams and the drivers. You can't let the inmates run the asylum, so you're going to have to pick through what they want to benefit themselves or what really benefits the track and the program and brings fans to the speedway. I think you need to understand the surrounding landscape, meaning the town, city, area around your speedway. I think that's important. I think you have to have a good relationship with your township because you're going to need them to hold races, going past curfews, not going past curfews, getting zoning, all those things. So I think there are a bunch of things to understand. I think taxes, insurance, you got to understand the facility. I know Barry Jackson used to be in Parks and Rec. That's why Barry Jackson knows so much about safety. It wouldn't hurt to have a guy like that who you could lean on to look if your facility is safe. So I think a promoter nowadays, a good promoter, your best promoter, has got to understand all those factors and how they tie into your speedway. If they don't, you're going to have a major problem. You need to understand social media. You can't be rigid. You can't start banning people, shutting off your comments, all that other nonsense. It's not good PR. So you have to have a thick skin and everything else I said. So there are very few out there. I will say Colton Gauss is the best promoter that I see now. One of the best promoters I see because he understands a lot of that. Now, he makes mistakes too sometimes. I mean, you're going to make mistakes, but that's the other thing. You got to be willing to make mistakes and you got to pivot quick. So that's a lot for one person to handle. But unfortunately, I think to be successful nowadays, that's the job. Spire, Dickerson, Kendra, Knoxville, Flo reunite in 2027. I think they could be. You could have the streaming rights and you don't need to do all that. I don't think all that's going to happen. I just think it's a streaming rights deal. Would be interesting to see Sam's run in a top tier car. Yes, but that isn't always foolproof. I don't think that just automatically solves all the problems. There's still racecraft. Sam's is still green, I think. And I like Sam's. I just like, very few guys go from being drafted out of high school and go to the majors. So I think cutting your teeth in the other, in a regional series, that's what they're for. And I think the regionals program right now is stronger than it's ever been. You have Power High, NARC, you have All-Stars, you have IRA. And if you want to count the PA series, go ahead. I think those are all good places for people to go. I lied to the lady about there being no racing on tonight. I'm going to be out on the streets thanks to Motown B Main. That's on you, buddy. It's on you. Happy wife, happy life. Where do you think Rico will place at Knoxville Nationals if he goes to the final A main? Look, Loudon, I actually talked to Loudon today, and he thinks Rico can win. I know he was in here earlier. I don't disagree. We see this stuff in sports all the time. We know Ricky's going through health issues. Those sentimental stories that creep up, and we see athletes perform their best and win one for this person, that person, or when they've had a tragedy or something like that. I think Rico could do that. I'm not betting against Rico. I said Gravel's going to win it for the last 3-4 months just because I think he can get through the heat races. That being said, if Rico won, I wouldn't be stunned. If Reitzel would win, I wouldn't be stunned. If Timms would win, I wouldn't be stunned. Those four stick out the most to me. How did Carson Macedo get to run Oski? Thought he had 4 freebies used up. No, this isn't one where you have to ask permission. They get permission. They can run all this week. They're allowed to run Oski. Will Timms be back at Port Royal to run the Tusky 50? I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised. I would assume he'd want to defend his title. I haven't talked to Shane Liebig or anybody else about that. I think right now we're all focused on the Nationals, but I would anticipate he's locked up the Knoxville title already, and Knoxville's done at that time. So I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out for it. Hit Houston come all the way out here for the Tusky 50. Jeremy, how many times has Knoxville Nationals feature been ran not on a Saturday? Well, Craig Kinzer won it on a Sunday. Did Dave Blaney win it on a Sunday? It's been a few times. Hang on. I think it's like 2 or 3 times. I know Craig Kinzer. I don't know how many times, but I know Craig Kinzer, when he won it, it was on a Sunday. And I think Dave Blaney maybe was on a Sunday. So I'd say 2 or 3, but don't quote me on that. I don't. But I know Craig Kinzer's was, I think. Jeremy, how many work area appearances do you expect to make this week? I might go tape the work area just to throw everybody off. I might go tape the work area for in between for the break on Saturday, just to get people talking that I was in the work area. Again, business is business. Jeremy, do you know which weather app the Knoxville officials use? Do you think it's the most accurate? I hope so. I would assume the National Weather Service, so it would be weather.gov, but I don't know for sure. With New Egypt, who was land sold to? Big Lot, AI Center, Chess and Winning, Outlaw Race, Great Memory. I do not know who bought it. I did not read the story yet. I don't know. Hey, Brent, do you know who bought New Egypt? No, we don't know who bought it. So Brent chiming in. So I'm not sure. I just hope, Grandview's the one that is the next. I would say Hagerstown's going to go. I think Hagerstown's the next to go. I think we could lose 3 to 4 tracks in the next 2-3 years in Central PA, maybe 5. Unfortunately, or in the Central PA region. Hagerstown, I think, is going to go. Grandview, I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't believe it's been announced yet who has purchased New Egypt. Thank you very much, Eric, chiming in. We'll go a little bit yet. Jeremy, your love of sprint cars is legendary. Have you ever had a chance to drive one? No, I've sat in one. When the whole Tony Stewart, Kevin Ward thing happened, I jumped into Weiss's car. I had a helmet, put a helmet on, and I did a video showing the visibility out of that car. And I can tell you this, the visibility, I don't know how these guys see. I don't know how they drive them, to be honest. It doesn't surprise me that guys get on the outside and get pushed into the fence or things like that, because you can't see them. You're going to have to rely on hearing them. And I just don't know how much you will hear if you have your own motor, their motor, you're concentrating on what's going on around you. I don't think it's easy. I think people try and make it easier than what it is. But other than that, that's the only time I've been in a sprint car. Jeremy, upload that video of you doing that, expose sprint car visibility. I don't know if I can, because I was at Penn Live at the time. So when you work at a newspaper, unfortunately, your stuff is their property. However, I'll do another one. I will do another one and show that visibility. So hopefully nobody takes that idea before I do it. But I'll try and do that as quick as I can. Bridgeport might be gone soon. Agreed. I think Bridgeport is another one that's you need to be mindful of in the next year or two. I would say Bridgeport, Grandview, New Egypt, Hagerstown, there's 4, right? With just boom, right out of the gate. Jeremy deserves attaboy for keeping a straight face reading some of these questions. Now I don't have a straight face, so it's okay. Really, it's fine. Jeremy, what's your thoughts on the 41 paint scheme? Actually, I like it. It's 10 times better than the one they had last year. That pukey brown or tannish, that was awful. So no, I do like their paint scheme this year. I'm not going to say leader in the clubhouse, but okay, if you have a Penn Live subscription, that's the link to that video. However, I will do another one. I promise. I will do another one. So you don't have to buy a subscription. I'll do another one in the next 2-3 weeks. Make it happen. What do you think happens with the 5? I assume you mean CJB ride next year. Not sure. I've heard different things. I think it's all over the place right now. I've heard that nothing stays the same. I've heard go to the World of Outlaws. I've heard won't be there at all. So it's run the gamut, and I think they're just trying to get through the season, and then they'll sift through all of that. What was Larson referring to Tim's midget resume about? I think Tim's has had some moments in a midget where he got into people on sliders, but I mean, that's half the midget crew though. So that was his reference. Jeremy could fit in Schatz' car. Yes, I could fit in Schatz' car. And it's not necessarily a good thing, but I'm going to do that. I'm glad Sugar Bear brings value. I know sometimes he gets out of control, but I will do that video again. I actually forgot about it until he brought it up. So, or the whole visibility thing came up, but I don't know how they see. And if you're on a place like Bristol, one of the problems when they ran Bristol was they had to cut slits in the sideboard so they could see out at all because of the banking. So I don't know how they did it at Old Eldora. Not me, man. No way. Not getting involved in that. So, but I'll do that. Do you feel the Nationals should go back to a single race over the pit stop 2-stage race? It's been since the 50th. It seems everybody wants. I do not die on this. This is again one of those things I do not have as strong of opinion about as other people do. Would I like to see it be a 30 or 35 lap race? Yes. But it's almost to the point now where they're going to have a fuel stop anyway. So why change it? So it's kind of one of those, it's weird. If they're not going to get through a 35 lap race, I mean, how low do you want to make it? 30? I don't know if your Knoxville National should be 30 laps. I know it used to be, and I get all that used to be stuff. But Kings Royal has always been 40. If you're going to have a fuel stop anyway, just keep it the same. So I guess I have a give and take on that. I don't have an overly strong opinion of that. Believe it or not. That's odd because usually I have strong opinions about everything. Flemington, East Windsor, now New Egypt, and Bridgeport next. 4 Jersey tracks in my lifetime. Crazy. Unfortunately, these things, it's expensive business to be in. And I think you have, well, let's put it this way. If you own a house, okay, and you're not even it rises in value. And somebody like a Copart or another business, an AI data center, whatever it is going to come along and pay you 4 times what it's worth. Are you going to take it? Life-changing money. You put all your time into it and, you're dealing with, maybe you had a bad year and you're dealing with all the social media blowback and everything that goes with it. you might sell too. And that's what I mean. It's hard now with the expansion of technology, everyday life, more things out there, more space being needed for what would be utilities or data centers or Copart or whatever. It's hard to hold on to. So it's difficult and it is crazy. It's hard to imagine. And I just don't know. I don't think the future's bleak. I'm not going to use that term, but I definitely think there's cause for concern. And again, Knoxville Knights had an interview with Brian Brown, and I thought he said it perfectly. It's a dicey deal. My dark horse to win Saturday with the new black scheme is the 77 Geo. Last time he drove a black car here, he was on the front row Saturday. I like Geo a lot. I know he's taken some daggers from people because he had a 100 race losing streak. He looks like they're on the right track. I just think it took him time. I think he's a top 10 car, definitely. I think he could put it in the top 5. Win, I think he's going to have to get some help to win it. He wouldn't be in that top tier to win the thing, but I definitely think he's an A main car, top 5, top 10, which is pretty good. Finished third at the Kings Royal. If you can top 10 or top 5 every crown jewel race, you're doing pretty well. Qualifying is going to be even more important this year with the likely hammer down track all week. Yes, it'll be interesting to see what they have Wednesday night because you're planning for rain. Do you pack it in? Do you all those little things, do you steal it over? I just don't know what to expect. Wednesday's usually heavy. It's definitely heavier, narrower compared to Thursday. I think it's a moving target. I think it's just going to add to this year's Nationals and be a big talking point. Will Kyle get booed this week? Yes, he's already been booed. I was surprised he was booed Sunday, and then, of course, he was booed last night. No lead changes in past 3 years at Knoxville Nationals. What are the odds a slider wins it this year? I do think there'll be a pass this year. Whether it's a slider or just somebody driving around on the bottom or the top. Again, that's going to depend. Let's work on just a pass. Jeremy, your thoughts on Tanner Holmes being ranked top 20 in the pool? I question Corey about that a little bit. I think he has him a little high. Little high. I know Eric, the producer Eric, did agree. But I just think he's a little high at this place. If this thing was, I don't know, West Coast or whatever, okay. I just don't think there's a lot of success at Knoxville, so I think he should be lower. Geo 12th in the Nishaw rankings. I think he's 12th, but I think he's really good at Knoxville, and I think they're trending in the right direction. So I like Geo higher than 12 even. Corey does a great job, though. He takes a lot into consideration. We disagree sometimes. It's fun. How about that kid driving the all-black number 17 410 car at the port? His name is Owen Dim. Remember it. I had somebody ask me about him earlier this week. In fact, it was Neil Wilt asked me about him, and he shows up every once in a while, can make the A main. I never really, admittedly, kept an eye on him in the past, but after Port Royal, I have to start looking into him a little more. Will Knoxville and or Huset's flip over to Flow next year? I think there's a possibility of Knoxville. Obviously, their streaming rights are up for bid. I would be willing to bet that Flow throws a lot at it. Huset's, I don't think Huset's will, but I think you could see some. I wouldn't be certain. I mean, you might see some other changes at Huset's next year. We'll see. Has anyone tried the Australian meat pies at Knoxville? Oh, God. No, I don't even know what that is. Who's your top 5 for Nationals, Jeremy? I have David Gravel 1, Rico Abreu 2, Aaron Reitzel 3. I think Tim's is about 5th. And 4th, I'll say Gio. And that's just quick. Like, I'm sure it'll change over the next 24 hours, but I can't back off Gravel now. But I think any one of those 5, I mean, I think there's 4 guys who are in the mix to win it. But it could, if Gio won, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Because I've said all along that he's really good here. Somebody like Carson Macedo's good here. But those 4, I think, are the favorites. And Corey Day is another one. He can win anytime he shows up. Do you think Chase Dietz makes the A main? No. I think he makes the B main. Jeremy, if Sanders was running Knoxville, where would you have him in the rankings? What car's he in? If he was in like an Aaron Reitzel backup car, I'm going to have him higher than if he's in, say, somebody else's car. If he's in the 2X, if Hunter Brady's with him, he has laps there. He's made the A main in the past. Between probably, I'd say between 13 and 18, 13, 20, something like that. It would depend. Again, it depends what car he's in. He has laps there. He can get around the place. He's made the A main, and so and he's seen the place. So if it was the 39M, you're closer to 13th because it times so well. And if he starts 6th, gets to the outside quick, I like his chances. What I know firsthand, there are port shortages at Kistler as well. Stanton's having problems too. Hefner 27H Ott was sluggish the nights we ran there too. I've heard stuff about certain things in the engine. I just I don't really talk about it a ton because, again, I talk to certain guys and I always like to get 2 or 3 sources before I say something. You know, I want to make it sure it's concrete. It's their businesses. But obviously they know there's a problem. And I'm sure they're working on it. And it's cyclical. The only guy I think who's always good was Charlie Garrett. And I think Morrison. Those 2 Capetas were always pretty strong because it was an exclusive deal with KKR. So I think the more exclusive you are, I think it's easier to not have these lulls or pitfalls. So I think they'll both be fine. They'll figure it out. Again, it's cyclical. Do you expect Knoxville regulars to fare better this week than they did in the 360 Nationals? Austin McCarl seems to find speed this week. Ryan Timms. After that, I think it's going to be a struggle. JJ Hickle, I don't know what to think. I like him. I think he's fast. But Sunday, I was a little concerned by his qualifying effort. And I know it's Sunday. It's not Nationals prelim. I'm going to say no. I think it's going to be pretty close to the same. I think you're going to get 2 or 3 guys in there. Maybe, which I guess isn't bad, but somewhere between 2 and 4. Yeah, I know somebody said Chris Martin. I think it's going to take a little bit. I think it's going to be situational there. So if he catches the right situation, sure. Nishaw has Wyndham at 45. What are the odds on making a main Saturday? Big track like that, he's going to need help. 45 might be a little low. I would probably put him in the 30 to 35 range just because I do think they're better than they were. And I do think, but I don't think it's likely that he makes it. I think he's 30 to 35 right now. How about G5 junking it and hot laps last night? Yeah, again, should be running a regional series. I think, he won NOSA races. I think it's a good starting point. Then move up to All-Stars. And I've said this over and over, just run a regional series. Focus on that, get better. Stop, so you're not junking stuff up and just emptying the wallet. Question about open reds to add fuel. Do you believe that there is too many pace laps to start the feature? Yes, I do. I think there's no other. Yes, it's too many pace laps. You burn 8 to 10 in a lot of cases. I know Drew Warner and Tarleton came to PA and they couldn't believe how quick the features start compared to California. Meaning less pace laps. So yes, I do feel there's, in some cases, too many pace laps. I have Kelby Watt very high compared to Corey. Why? Based on what? I'd like to know why that is. He should be able to make the A main based on what? And I'm not picking on Kelby Watt. I want you to tell me the thinking behind it. Look good at the Ironman. He did. Look good at the Ironman. He's run 27 races this year. His average finish is 19.1. I mean, I'm not saying he can't. Obviously, he can. But Knoxville finishes 39th, 12th, 6th, 3rd. That's good. Woo Outlaw Show didn't make the field. 15th, 22nd, 35th, 34th, 14th. Tribute to Lasowski fan, didn't qualify. 11th at the Capitani Classic was a definite positive. So I think it's hit or miss. I mean, the numbers don't lie. It's hit or miss. If Flo gets Knoxville streaming rights, does High Limit sanction a race there? I don't think one means the other. I don't know if they would or not. I think they are separate. I don't think Flo's going to dictate how they book their shows. I just think it just is their weekly streaming rights. So I don't think necessarily one's attached to the other. Hagerstown is going to get sold to another track owner or a land developer. It's not going to be a track owner. I think that thing's going to be something else. Seems the fewer Cali cars are coming to Knoxville than ever. Thoughts on why? I think Cali drivers get rides. I mean, you have really, who's not there? Shane Golobic, Justin Sanders, but Sanders was there in a fill-in role twice. And then the other time he ran the Swindell Speed Lab car. So I really don't necessarily count that. So I think it goes again. I think it's year to year, cyclical. Austin Woods looked really, really good at Knoxville so far. So I don't think there's a rhyme or reason. I just think things change year to year. Do you give Axum better than a 50% chance to make the A? I think he's a sleeper here, yes. He's good at Knoxville. He's made the A before. Jim Shuttlesworth's working on the car. I like him in the pool. I like him in the pool a lot. So that's a good answer to your question. Dirt racing peak mid-90s. It's just that simple, sad but true. Fair enough. Dolphin Highland Golf Course near Harrisburg, PA, market value $4.56 million, sold to build data center for $45. There's your answer on why tracks are selling. How are you feeling about your Shots Gets Another Win bet this year? I think if they put the rider in, yes, I got to stick by it. I'm not going to bail on it right now. I think he gets another win somewhere. All right, guys, that's a wrap on the questions. I appreciate everybody joining the show. I'm sorry that we had some technical issues and also came on later tonight, but thank you for sticking with us. And if you like the content on our YouTube channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also, we'll have our daily exclusive content on SprintCarUnlimited.com. We have a special deal through the end of the Knoxville Nationals. You get a 20% discount on a year's subscription, meaning only $28 if you use the coupon code SCUMON 2026 at checkout. That's SCUMOM 2026 at checkout. You get a 20% discount on a year. Next week with another show. Stay tuned.